I can pick apart every performance I've ever had. I feel like I'm a perfectionist in all things. Like, so it's tough to let go of these things that are ingrained in you. That was a lie that we were told for so long. Your body is there for other people. These are realizations I think that I've had.
That's deep. Yeah.
What is it? They say the body keeps score.
Uh-huh.
I'm either moving and doing all the things or there's nothing happening. I mean, I was just very depressed. It was like 3 months where I was just like, I don't know what to do with myself. Felt like I was just looking for something and I didn't know what I was looking for.
Welcome back to No Former Athlete podcast. I'm so excited to introduce to you today's guest, Alison Wiley, a retired competitive dancer who shares pieces of her journey from starting ballet at 3 years old to auditioning for So You Think You Can Dance. In this episode, Alison confronts the grief of leaving the dance world behind and what her future may hold with the sport. We'll explore how external pressures and the pursuit of perfection shape our self-identity and how she balances this with both motherhood and her career. Let's jump right in. If someone were to walk down the street and ask you if you are an athlete, what would your answer be?
That's really tough. Currently, I would say no.
At any point in your life, would you have ever said yes?
I mean, yes, definitely. I mean, yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely, especially when I was like in college and whatnot, at the height of everything. But I don't know, maybe at the end of my pregnancy, I was feeling pretty fit.
Yeah, you
I
were.
was feeling real fit.
You were very fit through your
I
pregnancy.
was feeling really great. I
think
need
you
to get
actually-
back to that. That was probably the strongest I felt in a really long time,
You were crushing.
to be honest. Yeah.
Tell us a little bit. You said height in college. What did you do in college? What is your history as an athlete?
As an athlete, ballet when I was 4 years old. Did the whole ballet jazz tap thing. Really fell into ballet. And then around 13, introduced to hip hop. Did the whole competitive thing all throughout high school, danced with a studio. And then when I got into college, tried out for their dance team. It had been combined with the cheer team. So I had to do both. So kind of like a Laker girl situation, if you will. So cheering on the sidelines and then dancing on the court during half times and stuff. But we also did competitive or competed at dance competitions and stuff.
Yeah.
So
Did you do anything beyond college?
I attempted to.
Yeah, you did.
I attempted to. Yes, I did a few dance auditions and was immediately humbled. My personality is not cut out for that world. So
Fair.
I immediately ditched that and then pursued other things. Work things, fell right into that. Yeah.
But found kind of the next thing to work on.
Yeah. It's funny because my therapist asked me the same thing the other day. She was like, so what do you mean nothing happened after college? Like, don't you still dance? I was like, I don't know. I kind of just like threw myself into work. And she was like, okay, that makes sense. All right.
I'm going to jot that down. We're gonna circle back to that later.
Yeah.
So in the height of it,
Yes.
you're an athlete.
Yes.
You're competing, training, doing all the things for
Yes.
hours on hours.
Yes.
To the point that in the way that you just worded it, when you were done doing it, there was nothing.
Yeah. I definitely went through a grieving period.
Did you? Do you feel like you
I still
grieved it?
No, because I immediately started working and then was working an absurd amount of hours with that. I still grieve it from time to time. And when I was pregnant, I was like, that is my goal. Afterwards, I am going back and I'm going to take a dance class. And I still haven't gotten there yet, but it is still on my radar to go back and do it. Yeah. So
You're early. It's only been a little over a year, everybody.
Yeah.
She hasn't been holding on to this dream for 7 years. Yeah. It's okay. She's got time to jump into it. A lot of people would probably not say at the end of their pregnancy is when they felt ready to go back to something strong and athletic.
Yeah. Also discovering that dancers can weight lift, that was huge for me. Feeling strong and knowing how I can push my body without, and there's no such thing as too big.
No.
And even though that was a lie that we were told for so long, especially as dancers, they want you so So tiny.
Yet you're still supposed to be able
Tiny.
to flip and jump and
And do
literally
all
freaking
kinds of
soar through the air.
yeah.
But you're not allowed to have
Oh
muscles.
yeah,
Again,
dude. I think about if I was actually doing some extra training on top of that. Oh my god.
yeah, you would have been a beast.
Yeah.
You still are a beast.
Yeah.
No, but also, I now have known you for 7 years. Other than when we went to your unsanctioned bachelorette party, I have never actually seen you dance, or you have not gone to dance classes or led
Yeah.
dance or taught dance or anything like that,
Yeah.
which is interesting.
Yeah.
Because again, a lot of times people will still, do it in one way or another, or will go into coaching, or will go
Yes.
into different things
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah.
Do you have thoughts and feelings about that? Do you feel like that was intentional for you, or it's just so many other things kind of took your attention?
I think that also, like, once you're out of it, like, I have a certain expectation of where my performance should be. Also, the type of studios that I am drawn to that I would love to go to. I don't feel like I'm at that level anymore. So I'm trying to find what kind of a studio would I fit in now.
Yeah.
Because it's not like, okay, I might date myself here, but like Millennium or when, like I used to go take dance classes at Broadway Dance Center. If there's any, dancers they know. That place is still up and running, I'm pretty sure. But there's definitely a certain caliber of people that are there. And I just haven't done it in so long. Like, I don't think I could catch up.
Very interesting how across the board, how much we as athletes, maybe it's an everyone thing, but specifically as I've been talking to people, associate success or quality or performance ability
Yeah.
with how we're allowed to still identify.
Yeah.
I even had somebody ask me where, like, for me personally, playing collegiate basketball, they were like, well, do you still consider yourself an athlete? Right? Which is what we're all talking about here, right? That's why we're having this thing. And again, it is that moment of like, well, until I started reflecting and kind of thinking through all of this, my initial answer would have been no. I couldn't still go out and compete at the level that I was competing at in college. But also, who's expecting that? I'm not a professional basketball player.
Yeah.
You're not a professional dancer at this point in your life, but we expect ourselves to be.
That's fair. That's totally fair.
We have felt our bodies do that in our lifetime.
Yeah, which is almost like why I feel like I was scared to go back, because I didn't want to feel that I couldn't do certain things, which I mean, like, I can't even,
I feel
I can
that.
barely even go mini split these days, but that's a whole other thing. That's like other injuries and stuff that that weren't
Right.
addressed. Yeah.
Yeah. And things that, your body had to do being a competitive dancer for
Yeah.
years and years, that now it's like, oh, okay, that was how I was able to accomplish that.
Yeah.
But again, I think there's that piece of the identity part where it's like, if you were talking to somebody else
Mm-hmm.
and they were in your shoes,
Yeah.
what would you say to them?
Oh gosh. Yeah. I mean, it's yeah, I wouldn't be so hard on them. But we've had this conversation before. Just having so much grace for all these patients that we're seeing, that you see, and you can't even offer yourself that same grace, that gentleness. I don't know why, but maybe that's the competitive part that still lives in me somewhere.
I feel that.
Yeah, I don't know.
I so feel that.
Yeah.
Yeah. If I were the one doing it, you would be like, girl, go dance.
Yeah, what's
Be
stopping
like,
you
we're going
right
to turn
now?
music on right now and
Yeah,
we're going to
yeah,
dance.
Yeah.
And whatever your body looks like, whatever you're going to,
Yeah.
do,
Yeah.
just do it. I think when you put so many hours and your training is there and in the dance world,
Yeah.
which you can speak to, what is kind of the relationship to perfection or to the things that you're trying to achieve, the standards that you're being held at?
Oh yeah. I just like immediately go to rehearsal and just like how many times you're running through something because like one person's arm is off or one, you were like a half a count behind and you have to do it all over again. Yeah. No, you're drilling things all the time. Perfection is always being looked for.
Yeah.
For sure.
So that space anytime at this point in your life, because it's like You haven't been in another dance studio or done anything like that yet.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
Your experience with dance,
mm-hmm.
more or less, is top of my game, perfection. I
Yeah.
got to be able to hit these marks. I got to be able to hit these
Yeah.
things. I got to be right there with my teammates.
Yeah.
Do you feel like there's a place in your brain or a place in you that's like, oh, well, I couldn't be as good as I was, so why do it?
Oh, 100%. 1,000%.
Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like I'm a perfectionist in all things. Like, so
Mhm.
it's tough to let go of these things that are ingrained in you. Like, I would love nothing more than just to feel carefree about stuff, but also that's not my personality too. So
You're going to show up to show out when you know you're ready to show up to
what?
show out,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
when
yeah,
you've practiced it and you know it's going
yeah,
to look how you want it to look.
yeah, yeah.
No, legit, practice makes perfect.
Mm-hmm.
What does that phrase mean to you, and how many times did you hear that in your life growing up?
Oh, so many. But yeah, I somehow immediately just thought of like the what is it, 10,000 hours makes you an expert, which I definitely put in my time, but I feel like,
Would you call
that's
yourself an expert?
maybe at one time, but things have changed
Fair.
a lot in dance world. And also I will say I get the sense, I think, I don't know if it's just cuz Gen Z, but like people are a little bit more accepting too. It's not like when it was like early 2000s, so just people were not kind. People were not kind.
Fair, fair enough.
Yeah.
I think too, perfectionism
Mhm.
within athletes
Yeah.
that then filters over into every other aspect of our
Oh,
lives
yeah.
and controls so many things that I think then do kind of delve into self-confidence, how, a person presents into the world. If they don't have everything perfect and they haven't practiced the steps, they haven't practiced the
Yeah.
things, and they don't know exactly how it's going to perform, how it's going to look.
How it's going to be perceived.
Totally.
Yeah.
And it's interesting because this whole idea of like practice makes perfect in my brain now, it's like that was on every poster in every PE gym, in every elementary school, in every, all these things are just like practice makes perfect. And
Mhm.
then I don't know about for you, but for me, it was like, then it turned into perfect practice makes perfect. Like, okay, yeah, let's just get the word perfect in there a couple more
Yeah,
times
you're always chasing it,
just to really
right?
beat it into
Yeah.
these kids' heads,
Yeah.
that it's like, yeah, how are we not all perfectionists?
Yeah.
It was kind of ingrained in us.
Well, how do you know when you reach that though, too? Because even like I can pick apart every performance I've ever had though, too.
Absolutely.
Interesting.
Okay, yeah, this idea of perfectionism and how it holds me back in some ways because it's
Mhm.
like I won't just jump in and do it because I'm like, okay, yeah, well, I don't have it like all perfectly ready. I don't have all the branding. I don't have all the things. I don't have
Yeah.
this ready
Yeah.
to like perfectly present.
Is
But then
that
it's,
is
yeah.
that also being a female though, too?
I think it plays a huge role.
Yeah.
And I think the athlete part and how women present in our society,
Mhm.
and the things and the pressures of like, oh, yeah, if you want some of the same things,
Yeah.
you got to be consistent. You got to be at the top of your game. You got to do those things.
Yeah.
And so I do think that affects kind of the overall, presentation
Yeah.
of how people step into a situation, whether it's work related, family related, relationship related, but
Mhm.
also how much is it the athlete part?
Yeah.
Because now I keep
Yeah.
hearing people, repeat that over and over. And it's
Yeah.
like external validation, you were performing, practicing, doing
Mhm.
what you were told to
Mhm.
do.
Mhm. Mhm.
Yeah, there's some creativity, there's some things, nuances within there,
Yeah.
but how much of it is so like, oh yeah, I'm trying to achieve this.
Yeah.
And now it presents in all of our lives very differently.
Yeah. I mean, like the dance aspect of it, your body is there to showcase whatever your coach wants you to do. It's not about you. I'm only here for other people. These are realizations I think that I've had later on. And ways that I view my body, decisions that I've made in the past and things like that.
Was it more recent that you felt like you were like, oh, this is my relationship to my body because my body was always a tool that someone else was using.
Yeah.
That's deep.
That athlete A, I think that was what it was about Larry Nasser and how
Yes.
he did awful things to all
Yeah.
these girls, and how they talked a lot about like, oh yeah, when you're in the gym, like it's just your body, like people are like touching you all the time, correcting you, doing all these things. I was like, I mean, I was not sexually assaulted, I will say that,
Yeah.
but I had that experience where it was not abnormal to have someone just come over and like move you around or do things to you without asking. Like that was totally normal.
Yeah.
Like even from a young age, like I remember going to this ballet class with a new teacher. She was very serious. A lot of girls progressed farther when they went to her classes, but she was notorious for like if you weren't standing appropriately, that she'd come and shove a broomstick down your back while you were dancing. Or like if you're, in the splits, like it wasn't uncommon for your dance teacher to literally just push you down and things like that. And that's from a very young age. That's like you're 5, you're 6, 7, 8.
Yeah.
Like that's,
and then it just becomes normalized.
and that is totally normal. Yeah. Kind of realizing some of that's the decisions that I had made when I was younger, or not feeling like I had autonomy over decisions and my body and things like that. So
Totally.
yeah.
Again, perfect example of something that, again, was so normalized, probably is still very normalized in a lot of those spaces.
Yeah.
That like, you weren't aware of at the time that you're competing because you're focused, right, on like the thing. You're focused on whether it's actually being in that, team, being in that lineup, being in the actual showcase, whatever the situation is.
Yeah.
You're just trying to do what you need to do to be actually out there.
Yeah.
Let alone thinking through all these things that then post competitively come up and you're like, holy cow.
Yeah.
I went through a lot.
Yeah.
And it is affecting me.
Yeah.
In a lot of different ways.
Yes. Yeah. Manifesting in different ways. Yeah.
Yeah.
What is it? They say the body keeps score.
Whether it's, a high impact sport, whether it's a more performance sport, whatever it is. Yeah, it keeps tracking its own ways. And the mentality that you had to have.
Yeah.
What types of things, kind of reflecting back on that, what dance things in your life from your past do you feel like still happen today, or that you like still catch yourself doing?
I mean, the only thing that comes to mind is like how much I sing and dance with my daughter on a daily basis. Like I'm not not a singer, but I grew up with a lot of musicals, and I wasn't, and it's not like a conscious thing where I was just like, oh, I'm going to do X, Y, Z, but like I literally sing to her on a daily basis. I literally play music with her. We're always moving around. That's the first thing that I thought of. I don't know. And then dance, other things I guess that live on is just when I get into something, I feel and I can get a routine going with it, something consistent, then I feel better. I miss the, Tuesday was this class, Wednesday was this class. Like you go and do that. Okay, stretching and all of that stuff. Now we get to have fun on at this time and whatever. I used to have it was like gave me structure. Yeah.
Do you remember kind of those first years post competing, and once you kind of had decided like, okay, I'm not going to continue to audition? When you were first working and all of that, you had more of a management position. You were working in retail.
Yeah.
Again, I just know this because I know this information about you. But then too, you like fully career change. Career shifted, went back to school.
Yeah.
And then you were a physical therapy assistant, physical therapist assistant. And at that time, did that feel more like okay, back in kind of more of an athlete world, in a dance world, a like connecting to movement?
To movement. It felt good again. And I was kind of kicking myself like, I wish I had known about this career like earlier. Would I have taken going to grad school seriously at the time? Probably not. So I think it happened at the right time when it was supposed to. I didn't even know physical therapy was an option.
Yeah.
If you will. Or I just didn't even like give it any, I don't know. When I was younger, I just like was like, oh, I'm here to go to college and like dance, like not
Yeah.
thinking about anything else.
And then your plan after school was dance.
It was dance, yeah.
Yeah.
Was to be a professional dancer.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that got crushed real hard.
Do you remember kind of some of those like initial feelings, thoughts, or like kind of the structure thing, right? Like,
Oh, I mean, I was just very depressed. It was like 3
Really?
months where I was just like, I don't know what to do with myself. I don't know. I felt so lost, so just like in the wind. I
Really?
felt like I was just looking for something and I didn't know what I was looking for. And then I found work, so then that just like was working for me for a little bit, but until it wasn't. So
good distraction.
a good distraction, yeah. For a little bit, yeah.
A lot of times it's that initial like, oh, great. I got freedom now.
Sometimes, yeah.
And then all of a sudden you're like, oh, wait, but what am I supposed to do?
Yeah.
Like decision making when you're always
Yes.
told.
Yes, like yeah, like you have something to look forward to. And I even had that thought last week where I was just like, I'm so thankful that I got to go back to work an extra day. And then some of these other days in between, like I need to get better at just like planning ahead some of the stuff. But I also kind of like the fact that I don't have to think about anything and I can just do whatever I want at the time, but it doesn't feel good at the same time. Like that's funny that you say
Why do you
that.
think
I was
it-
literally
Yeah.
doing this weird back and forth the other day.
Yeah, no, I fully understand,
Yeah.
especially as someone who now can control most of her schedule and
Yeah.
or, just has the freedom versus, previously working full time in a clinic. And it's
Yeah.
like patients are going to show up when they're going to show up. And that's just what you're doing for work.
Yeah. Put your head down and get
Totally.
it done. Yeah.
When you're feeling that kind of in between. And then you said like, and then sometimes I just do what I want, but then I feel bad. I feel guilty about that.
Oh,
Where do you think that comes from?
Yeah. Where does that come from?
Yeah.
From many places of my upbringing.
Oh, you didn't know this was going to be a therapy
Yeah, I
session
know.
as well?
I guess
Okay.
so. Back-to-back therapy
Back-to-back
today.
therapy.
Okay.
But too, like that structure piece,
Yeah.
like why do you feel bad when you get to choose things for yourself?
Why do I feel bad? I don't know. Because we live in a society that tells us when we're not producing and we're not being productive, it means we're not
Mhm.
worth anything.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
Yeah.
At a basic level.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah. Do you feel everyone feels that way?
oh, no. No,
Right.
definitely not.
So from a society perspective, right?
Yeah.
So it's like that initial response like, oh yeah, well yeah, society wants you to be productive, which I totally agree.
Yeah.
I totally think that's a thing.
Yeah.
But not everybody.
Subscribes to that. No.
There it is.
No. No. I don't know. Also, I feel like when I'm not moving and I'm either all or none. Like I'm either
Mhm.
moving and doing all the things or there's nothing happening.
Yeah.
And I don't, yeah. If I'm tired at the end of the day, like it feels okay. I did it.
Yeah.
I did it.
How many days a week did you practice and or compete growing up?
I think we practiced like 3 times a week. But then during like competition season,
Mhm.
those extend to like long periods of time.
Mm-hmm.
And then when I was in college, we would have to get there a month before everyone else. So we'd be practicing doing 2-a-days
Mm-hmm.
the same time that the football team was. Let me
Mhm.
tell you. No one believed us that we actually did 2-a-days just like them, but we
Yeah.
did.
Yeah.
And we worked our butts off. And they always put us in like these whatever places that no one else was using. So it would be like 90 degrees out
Yeah,
and
of
you'd
course.
be sweating your butt off,
Perfect.
having to go full out.
But yeah, you guys go at noon when the sun's out
Yes,
and just baking. you.
Literally.
And then
Literally.
we'll bring everyone else back out in the evening.
Yeah. Ooh, the worst though. Let me tell you the worst was Sunday night practice. And we would
Oh.
go in this like little stage area and it would be where crew team would store all their rowers
yeah.
and they would be in there rowing right before we would go in there. So it'd be hot and gross and like their sweat would be everywhere and they wouldn't clean up after themselves. And all of those boys got nasty ringworm from the bay all the time. So I'd be like worried about getting some nastiness
yeah, and like
from
God
them.
forbid that you guys are having to like flip and put your hands on the floor and like do all the,
Yeah.
oh my.
Yeah. It was disgusting.
It's
Disgusting. But that's standard. It's like, okay, this is the only place with a mirror and we have to share the space with them. Or we weren't allowed on the actual grass, like in the arena. It only happened like day of. So we'd always be practicing on like the turf and stuff like that, which gets really hot. Wow, haven't thought about that in a while.
There you go. In that same way, like you're going to practice. They're squeezing practices into the schedule. Like you're having a Sunday night because that's all that works with the, whether it's a facilities issue or it's everyone else's schedule because they're also doing other things or having to work job, whatever it is. It's one of those where I remember back to it's like, yeah, when you had that off day, like when you didn't have a practice or you didn't have something that day, I remember feeling relief because you were like, oh, I literally get to do whatever I want today. And then at least for me and my brain and my little, perfectionist Aaron athlete, kind of going back to your all or nothing.
Yeah.
I would either just like veg on the couch and watch TV because it was like, this is the only time that I have to do that because I'm doing stuff all the other days.
Yeah.
But then when you retire, stop competing, don't have that structure anymore, it's like, oh, okay, all I know how to do on my off days is to lay in front of the TV and veg out because I was doing so much all the other days.
Yeah. Yeah.
So literally all I know how to do with my off time is, I guess, quote unquote, not be productive.
Yeah.
But then when a lot of those days string together.
And then you're not feeling good.
You're definitely not feeling good.
Yeah, no, that's me exactly. Oh my God. I just like had this memory of being in school again, like going back to school for PTA. And you had a week between each term. And I had a whole week and I was like so excited to just not do anything. But by day 3 of me just like binging TV and like doing crossword puzzles, which are really calming for me.
Yeah.
I was just like, I don't feel well. Like, why I don't feel good and I should probably go do something, but I don't know what else to do and like feel like I need to take advantage of this time before next week when I start getting really stressed out again.
Yeah.
I don't know.
So then what did you do at that time? Like, did that then make you become productive? And did you like start doing things or did you just kind of double down?
Probably not. Sometimes, because sometimes I do that. And then I, mental health, I definitely get depressed. And then that's like a whole other hole that I dig myself in. And when I'm not moving enough, when I'm not doing enough, but I don't know. I've never been like a traditional, like go to the gym, work out. Like that's so boring to me. I really have a tough time with it. And I really have to like motivate myself, even though I know I feel better after. Yeah. You would think having all the stuff in the garage right now would be helpful for me, but I still am like in a weird slump right now.
I have a PT clinic literally in the studio of which I live. And I do not use that equipment as much as I could.
Yeah.
But my question for you is, what does dance mean to you now?
I don't even know how to answer that. What does dance mean to me now? Not necessarily for me, but maybe for my daughter, just things that I get to introduce her to now. Because honestly, for a long time, I mean, I don't even know if I can. So there was a period where I couldn't even like watch stuff.
Really?
I'd get really sad. Like, so you think you can dance? I tried out for that multiple times. Did not get far at all. But would see that and be like, that could have been me. Like, if I actually like went in there feeling more confident, because when I was 21, let's just say I was not confident at all. Yeah. So for dance for me is like maybe something hopeful that I can eventually get back to in some shape or form. But more so, I think for my daughter, like something cool for her to do and that maybe I get to share with her a little bit. Yeah.
And you're super excited for your daughter's future?
Oh, yeah.
I'm super excited for your future in dance. I'm serious. I think about it often, actually. Just because, too, I think there's so much that you can still do with it. I do. I know. It's okay. You're also allowed to cry on my podcast.
Yeah, I don't know why that feels really hard to hear right now. I don't know. I think because, like, I left it when I was 21 and I'm 35 now. So
You
that's a
haven't
long
touched it in a
time.
while.
Yeah.
But you can.
No, for sure. For sure. You know, I felt like I found a little bit of that with yoga for a little bit, but it still didn't like scratch the itch.
It didn't fully fulfill that spot.
Yeah. It's not quite the same.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, I'm kind of being creative and like it feels cool to feel creative in this
Yeah.
in movement again.
Yeah.
I have one foot in the medical world now and I have one foot in like that yoga, dance, creativity world, and I feel like my marriage of the two is how my classes are, and that doesn't fully work within yoga world sometimes.
Yeah. But it works very well for people's bodies in the world. So keep doing it.
Yeah.
So confidence. Confidence and keep doing it because it's your own unique version.
Yeah. I mean, this is a big year for me astrologically. We talked about this before.
You heard it here first, people.
This is the year Pisces are supposed to heal their inner child, and that is what I'm working on right now. Therapy.
Look what we're doing.
Back to back.
Therapy, podcast therapy. You are welcome. I'm very excited to see what you do with dance because I think it's still in your life and I think it's in your future. And I think sometimes, you know, it might take some redefining.
Well, after this talk, definitely.
I know.
Definitely.
The whole reason I brought you in for this podcast was just to get you back to dancing. I'm just kidding, but also kind of not really, because I also think you had made the comment that there's a rejection world and kind of like being prepared for rejection. What if you kind of stepped back into that a little bit?
Yeah. I'm not sure if I'm ready to feel that, whether from myself or from someone else.
Mm-hmm.
But I guess, I don't know. I guess that's life. I don't know. As I'm talking through things now.
What does rejection tell you about yourself?
And then I just need to try again.
Yeah.
That perfection it's not the end goal. Yeah.
From my personal experience, since we are very good friends,
yeah,
I still remember literally when we were dancing together. Again, I'm a very bad dancer, but when we were at like your just little mini bachelorette party situation where again, we were just, at Hamburger Mary's chilling.
Yeah.
It was a good time. Like everything was chill. You were just alive. The joy oozing out of you, and you're like fucking good. You're just like a very fucking good dancer. And also you and your husband's first dance at your wedding, because we may or may not have filmed that for them. Allison and Anton's first wedding dance is so cute and it was so clutch. But like in those moments, you're there.
Yeah.
You don't have to, get on So You Think You Can Dance anymore.
No.
You just get to go do your thing.
No.
Well, I am very excited.
Thank you.
To see what dance brings in your future.
Yeah. Thank you for those good thoughts, those good vibes, putting that out there for me.
You are so welcome.
Yeah.
Any other thoughts or things that the idea of no former athlete brings up for you?
I'm just so stoked that you are doing this. It's been a long time coming. Thank you for including me in the conversation. When I was in college, we were like really fighting for that real hard.
Absolutely.
Very cool.
It's the way that dancers can use their bodies is incredible. And even as a physical therapist, like having treated some in my past, like it's nuts.
Yeah.
And it's wild.
Yeah.
And you are amazing. And all dancers are amazing, no matter what style you do and how good or not good you are.
Yeah.
Because we also don't have to define our athlete identity based on how good we were or how good our team was. Because that's been coming up a lot, which is interesting. Allison, are you an athlete?
Yes, I am an athlete.
You don't lose that part, right? You don't lose that part.
Yeah.
It's there.
Yeah.
Just because you're not like able to step out and compete right this second.
Yeah.
It's there.
That's true.
Love you.
Love you.
Thank you for being on my podcast. Thank you so much for listening to this episode. If you enjoyed this episode, please rate and review. You taking that 5 minutes makes a huge difference and helps us to be able to make more episodes like this. And if you want to see more content in between the episodes, follow us at No Former Athlete on Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube. I'm so glad you're a part of this No Former Athlete community. And if you know any No Former Athletes that you think I should get in touch with, DM me on Instagram at No Former Athlete. Thanks again for listening, and we'll see you in the next episode.